So this is Dr. Emmanuel. Welcome to my channel. Today I want us to have a discussion on how to approach a PLAB2 station of domestic abuse and insomnia. So in this station, you will get to see a patient who will come to meet you in your GP surgery, complaining that she's having problems falling asleep. Essentially she will have this insomnia. And of course, you would have to explore to find out why she's, having these difficulties falling, in sleeping. Usually this would be a domestic abuse station, when you see a young female patient in PLAB, coming with sleep problems or coming with anxiety problems or depression, you have to ask if she feels safe at home. Even if it's a male patient, you need to ask if he feels safe at home, because both men and women can be victims of domestic abuse, okay? So let's progress. So the station here is that Samantha Jones, a 27-year-old lady, has come to your surgery today. She wishes to speak with you about her difficulty sleeping at night, take a focused history, address her concerns, and initiate management. So the hint here is that the lady would, so this hint, I'm the one who has put this hint. So usually you wouldn't have this hint in the exam, okay? So the hint is that this lady will usually have a history of domestic violence as DV in the PLAB2 examination. But don't be misled. Don't be surprised if you ask her if she feels safe at home and she tells you, oh, doctor, yes, I'm perfectly fine. Okay, because it might be a straightforward insomnia station, but then it could also be an insomnia station, with a background of domestic violence. Okay, so you need to ask if she feels safe at home. So while you're outside the room, before you get into the, before you hear the bell that, it prompts you to get into the room and then introduce yourself to the examiner. So while you're stood outside, you need to ask yourself some questions. You need to ask yourself, where am I? So if you notice in all the previous videos we've done, on the PLAB2, while preparing yourself to get into the room, the first question I recommend you ask yourself, is where I am, or where am I? You need to know where you are. Are you in the GP surgery? Are you in a psychiatric clinic? Are you in A&E? Are you in a specialist clinic? Okay. Are you on the ward in the hospital? This will all determine how you would approach that station or how you approach your line of management, okay? So understanding how the NHS is structured, because every country has different structures. So if you might be doing something that is right, but that might not be, in tandem with the NHS structure. So you need to understand how things work here. So you passing your PLAB2 examination becomes, a roller coaster for you. So who am I going to see, or who has come to see me? That's Samantha Jones. She's 27. And then the next thing is, why has she come? Why has she booked this appointment? Okay. Why does she want to speak with a doctor today? She's having difficulty sleeping. So when they tell you difficulty sleeping, you really don't know whether it's insomnia, but very likely in the PLAB2 examination, it's to be a situation of patient having insomnia. But keep an open mind. Don't be surprised if she tells you, oh, doctor, I've noticed that in the last few months, whenever I go to bed, I wake up. I have repeated moments of sleep interruptions. I wake up, and maybe my husband has said, I stop breathing for some seconds and then I just jack up. So it might be a station of obstructive sleep apnea, multiple, interrupted episodes of sleep at night. So keep an open mind just in case it turns out not to be an insomnia station, okay? But usually to be an insomnia station. But just to warn you, keep an open mind. Every now and then new stations, have introduced in the PLAB2 examination. So explore differentials of insomnia in your mind while you're preparing to go in. Ask yourself, okay, yeah, what do I need to ask this lady? I need to explore her sleep hygiene, obviously. I need to find out if she stays awake, watching TV, playing video games, if she drinks, neurostimulant like coffee, tea, at 10 p.m. close to bedtime. Those things can keep you awake. You need to find out if she's anxious, if she's depressed, if she has any psychiatric symptoms and all of that. She has physical health problems like chronic pain syndrome that, keeps her awake at night. So you need to explore all of that. So key points or approach. Of course, you move into the hall when you hear your prompts. Introduce yourself to the examiner, tell your examiner your examination number. The examiner will ask you if you're ready, you say yes, he'll point you to the patients, you go to the patients and you start. Okay. So you approach the patient. Hello, is this Samantha Jones? She say yes. Could you confirm your age for me, your date of birth? She tell you. Say, and is it okay if I called you Samantha? Or you ask her, how do you want to be called? Most likely she'll say, call me Sam. Okay, she'll give you a short form. Call me Sam, doctor. It's okay, Sam. So Sam, what brings you to the hospital or what brings you to the GP surgery today? Because you're in the GP surgery. What brings you to the practice today? And she will tell you, doctor, in the last, 2 to 3 weeks, I've not been sleeping well at night. I've been struggling to stay asleep or often fall asleep. And you have to empathize. So I'm really sorry to hear that. Why do you think this has been happening? So you need to check her own ideas. What does she think? Why do you think this has started happening? Or why do you think this is going on? If I tell you, doctor, I don't know. You ask her, what are you most worried about? What are you most, explore her concerns. What are you most worried about? And say, okay, when you booked this appointment, what were you hoping to get out of it? So her expectations. It's good to explore her ideas, concerns, and expectations very early in a sensible way. Okay. Try not to be robotic about it, but it's usually good to know early so you know how to, maneuver through the rest of your management. So you ask her, when you booked this appointment, what were you hoping to get out of it? And then she'll be like, oh yeah, I was hoping to get some pain, maybe some sleeping pills. I was just hoping to get some sleeping pills that could help me sleep at night. It's okay, I understand. I understand that. Is it okay if I asked you some questions just to understand why this may be going on? And you ask some questions. You try to use open-ended questions. You tell me about your typical sleeping patterns. And then she'll tell you, usually I go to bed at 10 o'clock. I wake up at 6 o'clock. She'll tell you something. She might tell you, oh, doctor, what do you really want to know about my sleep? Sometimes in the exam, patients might be, the simulators may be lenient to tell you. If you use open-ended questions, they'll tell you a lot of things. Sometimes they might want you to, dig deeper consciously to ask specific questions. So, she might tell you, okay, I go to sleep at 10 o'clock, wake at, but that in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I find that I go to bed at 3 a.m. and at 5 a.m. I'm awake. So she's sleeping for only 2 hours. Now, over the last 2 to 3 weeks, that's very poor, isn't it? That's a very poor change in sleep pattern. So you need to get that. You need to ask her, has anything changed in your routines? Have you noticed any changes in your routines? She'll say no. Ask her, okay, do you find that maybe you keep awake watching TV late at night? Do you drink caffeinated drinks, at night? Ask those kind of things. Have you got any physical health problems? Any past medical history? Are you on any medications? Ask her if she smokes. Do you drink? Do you smoke? Have you any history of, using drugs? You tell you no. And then you ask her, who else is at home with you? Do you feel safe at home? Because this is a domestic abuse station. Once you ask that question, do you feel safe at home? Usually the patient will become emotional, her countenance will change, she will look distressed, she'll feel vulnerable, she'll feel, she might become angry, so conflict of emotions. You notice her countenance will drop. She'll try to avoid, telling you about it. You have to pick up that cue that, her countenance has dropped, and you need to reassure her that I can see You look a bit uncomfortable. You know, seems your countenance changed. You know, when I asked you if you feel unsafe, I want to assure you that whatever you tell me will be kept confidential. You know, within the team. Um, and try to reassure her. She will usually she'll tell you, so, okay, you know, feel free to talk to me. You know, you're safe. You can safely tell me about you know, anything personal. But then you should also bear in mind that she has the right to decide not to tell you. So don't the examiner shouldn't see you trying to force the patient, because actually there might not be any domestic violence going on. So you don't have to, you know, cook things up. So usually, but because in the case of the PLAB2 examination, usually the patient will open up eventually when you offer confidentiality and, you know, show that empathy and understanding. She'll tell you that, yes, my partner has been hitting me. And then you'll be like, oh dear, I'm really sorry to hear this. I'm really sorry that you have to, you know, you have to put up with this. That do you mind sharing more of, you know, sharing with me what exactly has been going on? You know, is it physical? He's been hitting you. You know, how often has it been happening? Or for how long has this been going on? Do you think your life is at, you know, your life is at risk? Do you feel very unsafe at home? Do you want us to help in any way? You know, in ensuring your safety. You think you'll be safe if you could, you know, if you went back home today. She might tell you, oh yes, doctor, I don't want to push it further. I love my partner. I think we can work it out together. You tell her, okay, I understand, but that's, I'm really concerned because sometimes in domestic violence, people might actually become, you know, very much at risk, you know, in terms of their safety. At any point in time, you think your safety is being jeopardized, you know, you have to, you know, reach out. Okay, you can call the GP, you can call NHS 111 for out of hours GP, you know, you can call the National Domestic Abuse, you know, line service. I'm currently working in North Devon. We have the NDADA, okay, the North Devon Against Domestic Abuse. Okay. So just as we said, if we have to explore her sleep hygiene, if she watches TV late at night, drinking stimulants like, you know, caffeinated drinks, tea close to bedtime, ask her if she has any routines. Some people naturally have routines that they do, you know, towards evenings, towards tea time, you know, like, you know, meditations, having a warm bath, you know, in a jacuzzi or in a bathtub, you know, having their legs in a bowl of water, reading novels. So people have things they do that help them, you know, sleep. So we've said that you need to ask for physical symptoms, which is having headache, fever, feeling anxious, past medical history, medication history, ask for social history, who else is at home, does she feel safe at home? So you need to ask that. I would say, yeah, usually she will hesitate. You need to reassure her, offer her confidentiality, show empathy. Okay, usually in the exam, the patient will open up once you do this. Explore the form of abuse. Is it physical abuse? Is it verbal abuse? Is it emotional abuse? Is it financial abuse? Is it sexual abuse? Her partner might be, you know, having sex with her against her will when she's not in the mood. Partner might be, you know, controlling her finances, might be starving her of access to finances. Partner might be insulting her verbally and emotionally and all of that. Okay. And it can also go both ways. It can be a male patient, you know, having insomnia. You also need to ask about domestic abuse because, you know, men also do get abused. Okay, even though, you know, from practice, usually men may not be very vulnerable in terms of opening up, you know, to tell you about their abuse. They may tend to hide it. Okay. Ask about her mood. Tell her on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 being the best mood you've ever had, where will you place your mood? Tell your doctor, my mood has been shit, you know, has been crap, about 2 to 3 in the last few weeks. Ask Saver, do a very brief safeguarding history. Ask her, is there any other person that could come to harm from what is going on? Have you got children at home? Is there another person that you think could be at risk, you know, of witnessing these forms of abuse or being physically abused as well? Okay, if she has children at home, ask her, do you think these children are safe? That usually you might need to, raise a safeguarding concern to protect your children. The social, a safeguarding meeting might be held, the social workers might be involved and all of that. So just briefly tell her things about that. And of course, you need to ask her what form of help she wants. Because usually in law, even if someone has been abused, as long as it's not, as long as serious bodily harm, or death hasn't happened, the victim has the right not to press charges. So in this case, she's been abused physically. She has the right not to press charges, and she also has the right to press charges. So you need to ask her what she wants, what kind of help she wants, okay? And if she tells you, oh, doctor, no, I don't want to push it further, you have to reassure her that there are services available to help her at any point in time she changes her mind. If she thinks her life is at immediate threat, she can call the 999. So when you call 999 in the UK, it puts you through, it gives you the option of, it asks you if you want ambulance service or the police or I think fire service. Okay. So she can call 999 for her if she thinks her life is at immediate threat and ask for police, to be put through to the police. She can call NHS 111, she can call the National Domestic Abuse Helpline or other domestic abuse helplines, depending on the region where she lives. Okay, there are several, services that are dependent on the region. Okay, whether you're in the northern part, you're in the Midlands, or Wales or Scotland, they all have their own unique domestic abuse helplines. And then you also need to offer her some sleeping pills. She's not sleeping well, she might benefit from, using sleeping pills like Zopiclone or Zopidem. Usually Zopiclone is what we most commonly prescribe if she hasn't got allergies. Okay, you must ask about allergies before you prescribe any medication. So just to be sure that it's safe. Have you got any allergies to any medication? She'll say no. It's okay. Would you want to have some painkiller or would you want to have some sleeping pills for a few days? Take it at night, 1 tablet at night. And then you have to also tell her that if you're taking this sleeping pill, I'll advise you avoid driving, okay? Avoid signing any important documents, legal documents, avoid handling dangerous machineries, because it might make you feel drowsy, okay? And more at risk. We've come to the end of this channel, of this particular station. If you think it's been helpful, like the video, subscribe to my channel, so you'll be notified when we do more PLAB 2 scenarios on how to approach them. Okay, thank you very much.